Hola! Food prices have been facing meteoric rises recently, but they are about to go even higher because the US agricultural production is being absolutely devastated by the worst drought in all American history. The state of California is now 100% in state of drought. California produces over 60% of the vegetables, fruits, and nuts. Further, California isn't the only state facing a nightmarish drought right now. Extremely dry weather conditions are covering more territory in the western states. Hola, from Colombia. With the present great world confusion, I wish to do my part to accelerate the evolution of human consciousness. Please help by subscribing and sharing these videos. Thank you. Even though 2020 was one of the worst years for agricultural production in the US, at this time last year, only 20% of the West was suffering from severe drought. Today, that number jumped to a staggering 80%, including North and South Dakota. The drought pushes US oat crop to lowest level in records, back to 1866. Schiefelbein estimates they will have about 75% less hay this year. Out of their 2,000 acres of corn, they will not be able to harvest hardly anything. In California, 50 of the state's 58 counties are under a drought state of emergency. Governor Gavin Newsom issued an executive order urging all Californians to voluntarily reduce water use by 15%. However, for farmers and ranchers, reducing water consumption is not as simple as turning off the sprinkler. While demand for water can be reduced, one thing will not change, and that is the public's demand for food. With the US growing fewer grains, fruits, and vegetables, major food chains are getting increasingly dependent on exports, mostly from Canada. The bad news is that Canada is suffering just as much, if not more, from extreme dryness. In a recent report, local farmers revealed that a never before seen heat dome has literally cooked their crops while still on the branches. 50 to 70% of cherry crops were damaged in the heat wave. Apples, apricots, and other fruits also were reported damaged, albeit to a lesser degree. All over the world, several countries are also currently facing the consequences of the climate crisis. What we have witnessed so far was just the very beginning, and there will certainly be much more financial and economic pain in 2022 and beyond. It's very unlikely food prices will ever be lower than they are right now. So if you can't afford to stockpile the supplies you need before prices have gone out of control, just do it. Well, there's still time. Scientists are telling us that this is a multi-year mega drought, and what we've seen is just the tip of the iceberg. Unfortunately, there seems to be many more chapters to this story. Looking at the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, it soared 0.9% month over month and exploded at 4.5% year over year, its highest since September 1991. Further, what is interesting is that this chart does not include food and energy. If food and energy was in there, it would certainly not be at 4.5%. It would be well above 10. This chart analyzes the top contributors of the percent change. Used cars and trucks are the biggest contributors. Now, let's look at rail delivery. Union Pacific plans to temporarily suspend eastbound service from West Coast to its Chicago hub. They say it is due to significant congestion, labor shortages, and rail car shortages. I personally do not understand the rail car shortages. This is just like the shipping container shortages that started just as the Suez Canal was blocked for a week by the Evergreen mega container ship. Suddenly, more than 3 million shipping containers just disappeared. Clearly, they did not disappear. I believe they were relocated, stocked full of supplies, and sent somewhere else for long-term storage and continuity of government as we know them. The same thing is now happening with rail cars. One would think that with increasing demand for shipping due to the American economy largely reopening earlier in the year, that Union Pacific would be trying to increase train movement. These rail cars are also being rediverted full of supplies in the containers for long-term storage. But where? Here we see grain containers. The grain will have to be moved out of the grain silos, and trucks are just not going to do it without people noticing that something is going on. So where is all of this being taken? Many more challenges will continue to intensify whether we want to accept this or not. It is important to be in awareness and understanding that the divine has a plan. We are facing the end of humanity because the human being is ready for his evolution towards the new species, the divine being. Due to my peaceful non-cooperation, I went to prison. I describe my prison experience in my book, True Freedom is Inside of Me. Please visit my bilingual website. The only solution is very simple. I must connect to my true self, my soul. Easy to say, not so easy to do. Please go into action now. Make the choice between listening to your ego-mendacious mind and the external authorities, or listening to your soul, the internal authority. I consult and offer tools so that you can find your individual solution by making contact with your soul. Your soul will then effectively guide you through the upcoming, long-lasting, turbulent transition. Infinite love.